Hello and welcome to Pretenders of Reddit turn 61. Most important part. Yeah, we won. I reigned supreme. I am amazing. So what happened? Probably not too much. I summoned a few ghouls there, and there was a fight. So we didn't really lose so much. We gained 5 guys. Or gained even more guys, and we lost 1 Ictid warrior, 5 mermen, 6 Pale One warriors, and 2 cavern guards. No alms, no mercuries, penumbrals, magma children, just a few of our worst troops. And he lost a bit more. I suppose we can have a look at that. He doesn't even have more units. It's like, not only are his troops immeasurably worse, that really immeasurably. Now they're at attack 5 and defense 3. That's not so good compared to 14-14, for example. Not only are they worse, there's also just that many less of them. Oh, they're fighting with the guys back here. Yeah, I'll still get mind blasted. I know the Mercury's turn around, that's like the one thing that can go bad. Oh, he's already not in this form, but he's still at 20 protection, 17 magic resistance, 50 morale. So, what could happen to him? Earthquake. That should already be the HP road then. Yeah, there we are. So, a bit strange that he didn't even move that army last turn, or the turn before that. Don't think it would have mattered, but still strange that he didn't do it. So yeah, we won the game. We have 14 points. So let's take the time maybe for a bit of a recap. Also, this was, I think, for everyone involved, this was the first multiplayer game. Certainly was for me. So let's talk about what went right. So I think my starting position might just be the best starting position on the entire map. I started here, and I expanded all over the island, and especially towards these choke points, and I was able to agree to these borders with my neighbors very easily. And those are fairly fair borders, you might say. Yeah, this is 2 spaces from Helheim, and that's true, but it's also 2 spaces from my capital. So, you know, absolutely a fair border, and very similar to TNG here. It's 1, 2, 3. And for me it's 1, 2, 3. So again, it is equidistant from our capitals. So that, and it's a fairly obvious border, like, can't cross over except over these bridges, and so that's where you put a border. So, didn't get contested on my island at all. Was able to grab quite a few of the underwater provinces, though most of them were pretty shit, I have to say. But still, got them uncontested, and you can see fairly early I already took a small lead, and Arco took a huge lead, since he got all the mercenaries, and that mostly happened because I didn't know that you could just pick any province and then recruit the mercenaries there. I thought they would always appear in your capital. So I didn't even bid on any of the mercenaries. So he got like 3 or 4 at the same time and just took everything. whereas I made a more steady underwater expansion. At some point I overtook him, and well, everything after here, I think, or most things after here were from wars, but still, even at this point, Arco and me were ahead of most other players on expansion. And for me, what really helped was getting the Spearman, I believe it was, on turn 3 or 4, something like that, to took out these 3 provinces, which were 3, I think 2 of the 3 were fairly hard in these, and although they just, and well, this province was a good farmland, and they just kickstarted my expansion and kickstarted my income. And yeah, so I was able to take my whole island uncontested, and until the end of the game, I think I got attacked once, and that was like turn 50 something when TNT finally decided to break our peace because he was already dead. And he made one attack here, and we repaired it, and that was the only attack on our island. So that's very nice. And that's like the next thing that went very well, and that was the peace with TNT. Also, we met fairly early, I'd say turn 8 to 10, something like that, and we decided on peace, on the obvious border. And that was, I think, a fine deal for him. For me it was a fine deal because I only had 2 ingress points to my island, and if I have peace with someone on one end, well, I can concentrate on the other end. Right? And for him, I think it was a fairly good deal, since he could take 2 thrones, and he did. I think at the very beginning he didn't do so well because he couldn't expand out here, so his expansion was a bit slowed. But I think I mentioned that on the turn 10 score review thing. He was a bit behind, but then he got 2 thrones, and those were good thrones. Like this one was the 200 gold throne. Spreads Dominion 2 and has decent recruits. Like these add up to golden orders. It's 2 fire, 2 astral, and good chance for fire 3 or astral 3. Like 50% for a very good mage and 50% for a good mage, and he's even very strong researcher. Not cheap, of course, but overall you'd be happy to be able to recruit those, right? So I think the piece here was beneficial for both of us, but he should have broken it earlier. Especially in a game we had score graphs on, and status. The lamer saver generated a status page, and he could see that I was taking, first of all, underwater provinces or provinces in general, and second, eventually I went up to heal him. And at that point he should have probably attacked me because I was getting a bit ahead of him. Not ahead of Arco, I'd say. Arco's, I think, was in the leader position for the first half of the game, and I overtook him after that. But first half, I'd say, belonged to Arco. But yeah, so our southern border was completely safe the whole game, and that's that's especially good if you just border 2 people, if one of them doesn't attack you at all. Like I said, that was, I think, a mistake by him. I've played a bit more with him because he's like, I like him as a person, and he's, I think play-wise we're kind of similar, but I feel he's not very aggressive, and not aggressive enough, certainly. Which isn't a problem, since we, at the moment, we play 2 versus 2 disciple games, and there's no diplomacy there, there's no peace there, so that's not a problem there, and he, as far as warfare and just building and stuff goes, he's absolutely doing fine. Just, I feel, he took the non-aggression pact too seriously. Like, he took it as a binding law, and just started running away with the game. I think really the turning point when I went from number 2 to number 1 was the whole Heerheim thing. My plan going into the game when I saw the starting position was to make peace with both my neighbors, take all the underwater provinces, since we had no real underwater contender, and just go into a late game like that, and eventually just crush someone. That didn't even have to be one of my direct neighbors, could have been someone on this side, could have been someone back here. but eventually get out and kill someone. Because I think Agartha is very good with research. And not only can they field decent researchers, because the engravers, they're fine. They do a decent job researching, and they're sacred, which means you can just spam them, and it doesn't cost you too much. Like many nations have non-sacred researchers, and they really pay in upkeep. They have to fight, or they can't recruit just masses of their researchers and have them just research. They have to recruit regular mages to research with them and then fight a war with them. Like gain something from them, maybe even if you die, just to lower the upkeep until you can get back to peacetime research. And it's not the case for Agartha or anyone who has sacred researchers. You can just spam them out, and these cost 70 gold, so upkeep is 28 gold a year. That's a joke. Like that's nothing, especially for their research. On the other hand, they are fairly useless in combat. The best thing you can do is give them an Earth Gem, have them cast Earth Power thing, and then spam, I don't know, an Earth Melt or two. Like, they really don't do anything on the battlefield, but that is the case for many researchers, right? So I feel that Agartha is well set up for going into the late game, especially since you have a number of goals that do a lot of for you. Alteration, obviously, and I didn't even use my Unleash Imprisoned Ones thing, which gives you a lot of umbrals and penumbrals. Spawns 3 fairly big enemies that you have to kill, but you get a lot of units, and umbrals and penumbrals are both decent or rather good units. The problem is, you can't. They only have protection 0, so they die to a lot. But on Alteration 9, when you get them, you also get Army of Gold, Army of Lead, so that's a non-issue, really. Right. And also Conjuration is fairly good for Agartha, especially with our Pretender, that, like, once again, I took from a guide and I didn't think of myself. But with the air thing, I can summon Queens of Elemental Air, which just bring me into air in a big way. And I can forge the Staffs of Elemental Mastery, which would also be good if the game would have gone longer. King of Elemental Earth isn't even that valuable, since they have Earth 5 and can't wear boots, and so they're the same as an Oracle with Earth 4 and boots. So. But still, could have even gone for Queen of Elemental Water, but I feel Living Mercuries were done. So I have great high-end Conjuration stuff, I have great high-end Alteration stuff. Evocation, even have quite a few things. Magma Eruption is a pretty good spell. That's just a fact. And I could even cast Rain of Stones only with my Pretender, and I didn't research it, but could do it. And Volcanic Eruption is something that not many nations can cast either, but all my Fire random guys just need one booster and they can do it. So no problem. And that's a fairly good use of Fire gems. And yeah, Construction have a few nice things. We're an Earth nation, so we have hammers and we have a lot of things we can forge. Pretty happy about that. And even Enchantment, Living Mercuries are fairly easy, or a fairly early research target, but we also get Darkness, which hurts almost all nations more than it hurts us. In theory, we'd also have Hidden Sand hidden underneath, but that didn't really come into play on this map. But yeah, and Enchantment, and we can go into Big Death with Mount Fiends, Lichcraft, and our Mast Forging, and we even got Earthblood Deep Well and Well of Misery up, so. But didn't quite go that way. What I want, of course, is to keep my neighbors kinda weak, so they don't attack me. Like, I'm happy with if they're strong and they don't attack me, but if they are weak and then I know they can't attack me. Right, so that worked fine for TNG. He never really got into the game. I defended him from Arco because I didn't want to border Arco, who was strong. So I defended TNG. So he would, first of all, he would be in my depth, and second of all, I would have a fairly weak neighbor on my southern flank. Didn't work out in the north with Helheim. It was a bit unfortunate. I thought he was out of the game. I wouldn't have attacked him. It's just he sent me a message saying that he doesn't really have an answer to Sealam's stuff, which I guess makes sense since this Glamour guy is not great against Mouse Archers, of course. But and then he sailed out for a turn, and I thought he had just rage quit, so I went in for Helheim, not because I wanted to attack him. My plan was never to attack him, really. But I thought if he's out of the game, I certainly didn't want Sealam to have his stuff. Because the capitals are very valuable up here, since you get 6 gems income from that. And in this case there was even a throne here for us, which is the only throne we could have gotten, other than this one, without attacking TNG. So really my plan was let Sealam take most of it and let him do the sieging, then crush the Sealam army, and just take these 4 provinces, like this whole thing. But then it turns out that Sealam is kinda soft against Bladewind, like really horrible. He didn't find an answer until he was out of the game. So, and if we can do one thing, it is spam Bladewind, right? We can do that with Earth Readers with boots, we can do that with Oracles, and better with boots, and well, that's exactly what we did, right? Since he didn't have anything to stop us with, we just took everything from Sealam. Would have been silly to wait until he gets higher research goals and starts, I don't know, striking me down, or whatever the game plan is for them. So I defeated Sealam for basically free, just on the back of Bladewind, which he never found an answer to. And then of course he started sailing out for, I think, rage reasons, but I'm not 100%, like who knows what happened in his real life or whatever. But that was just a free conquest. Like I got these 6 provinces for basically free, and he only had 1 flying squad, wreaking some kind of havoc, and even that he didn't do that too well. I feel he didn't do a great job on that. So that could have been much worse, since all his guys are flying, and he could have just raided me all the way back here, which would have been okay, so I would have been happy just holding these 4 provinces. But like this, I just got him for free, basically, and then Ur came in and took the rest of the Helheim stuff up here, which is fine for me, because I didn't want to be greedy, and I talked to him. I think it's good diplomacy if you just tell him, yeah, sure, I'm getting quite a bit, but you can have the rest. I have everything with borders here, especially he was in a very weak position. I could have just crushed him as well, but then I couldn't have crushed Sealam at the same time, so that would have been hard for me. But he knows I could have just killed him, I think, since he had this horrible thing here with his with the vampire event that split his empire in 2, because he didn't have these provinces back here. Especially he didn't have the throne province. Which just means that he didn't get any income from all these provinces until he captured that 4, which took, I don't know, 15 turns. So he knows he was weak, and when I told him you can have that, he told me that he'd never attack me, which is, well, not a good attitude to have in this game if you want to win, but well, he said it anyway, and I'm sure he planned to not attack me for at least a while. Maybe not forever, but for a good while, since I could have killed him when he was weak, and I didn't, and instead let him go into the game. That's how you make allies, right? And so I felt I was kind of safe from here. So he would kind of buffer me from Sealam, from not Sealam, Arco, but not really. And at the same time, Arco was just warring with TNG, which was better for Arco than for TNG, but with my help, TNG managed to hold for a long time. I started to have TNG fairly early, and they needed that, but that worked out fine for all of us. And I think at this point, when I taken Helheim at the throne, I was already in a good position. That's where you can see the first real jump in gem income must have been around here, since I got the throne with 3 death gems, and then Helheim with all the death gems, and I enjoy death spells. So yeah, that was around that time, and that was when I started to overtake Arco. And I was in most things I was in solid second position for a long time, except for research. For research, you can't really see that here, but we had very, very shitty research starter. You can see it a bit here. We were super behind on research for the first, 30 turns, and then we overtook it just because we constructed just more forts and temples and labs. And our growth was just better. We just had to make up a lot of ground, and at some point here I overtook them, which is, I feel that around this turn I went from second place to first place, and no one ever stepped up to stop me, which is, I think a lot of that is on TNG, because they never attacked me, but it's kinda on Arco too, because Arco was very aggressive towards TNG. He wanted the throne, he wanted TNG, and he just attacked him all the time. Maybe he should have said, I'm gonna go through Celum and go for Agartha, and we coordinate, and you attack Agartha from the south. That would have been pretty horrible for me, but they never did that. And what was TNG supposed to do? If Arco attacks him from here, he's gonna defend here, and he's not gonna like Arco, obviously, and he doesn't have the resources or the will to attack me, especially once I started helping him against Arco, right? So I feel that was like the biggest mistake Arco did, was going for TNG instead of going for Celum and me. Though he probably didn't even have the scouts to see that what was happening in the Helheim region here. Yeah, and once I took Celum and had Ur as an ally and TNG as an ally against Arco, well, there was really nothing. I was super safe. There was really no province where I could be attacked. If Ur doesn't attack me, I'm not safe here. If TNG doesn't attack me, I'm not safe from the whole south. So everything that could have happened would have happened here. And that's just one space where I can concentrate my armies, and Arco never even really went for me. He just, I think his plan was to take TNG fairly fast, which would have worked if TNG hadn't gotten help from me, and then go for me through there. But I don't know if you should put yourself in a position where you're doing a 1v2. But really the amphibious part of my armies was a big thing this game, especially since this province I think was super crucial. It bought us so many land provinces, and it helped me move so fast between, like, I can go from here, which is super safe on my island, just one of my home provinces, to the province in front of Arco, or directly to the throne province, just in 2 turns. Whereas Arco needs to march 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turns to go somewhere where it's important. So this province, just for map balance, should at least, I think, be cut into 2. But yeah, it really had that at the beginning of the game. We didn't have the underwater patch thing, that wasn't yet out, which meant that my guys could spend a lot of time underwater. I think the patch kinda put an end to that, since now all the equipment can rust, and the Pale One warriors, they use the glaives, or that's the caveat, it doesn't matter, Pale One warriors as well. They use weapons made of iron. The armor's safe, but the weapons aren't. And I think that's a huge thing. I think that's really really problematic now. Might be need enough. I don't think Agartha needs enough, but maybe the whole raiding from the sea thing needs enough in general. I could see that. Yeah, so that was, I think at the point where I took Sealam and the throne here, that was where I had basically won the game. I think that was when I started to say in the commentary that people, if they don't attack me right now, everyone together, everyone who's bothering me, then I would win the game. And I think that's the way it turned out in that far out. It must have been around here this turn, where Arco lost quite a bit of income from here. I'm not entirely certain. Oh no, that was when the Eternal Storm cast happened from Sealam, right? And so this was when I killed the Sealam guy and the where the Eternal Storm ended and everyone's income went back up. But at this point I was already like doubling the income of the second highest, and a few of the lower income people were just way below me. I think at this point I could have fought any two opponents at the same time, except for Arco, because they were still kind of close. And you can see that in the research graph. Okay, in the beginning, of course, everyone was very close, but I was kind of behind. But like at this point, look at the graphs all around here. Arco only double in research. The next two, which I think were Yomi and TNG, and below that there was just nothing. And of course, everything after that just went well for me. But yeah, I think that this was really the part where I had won the game, when I had Sealam and Westblast Brethren and still wasn't attacked by anyone. After that, the cleaning of Arco, I really liked the way he fought up here. I had a lot more units there, better units than he did, and I was recruiting even more units. But he held me back, he repaired me completely, like, just with his assassin and the mind hunts. It was super annoying and super effective. I got a few provinces here, which gave some nice gems, but I never really got to the throne or really got anything done, and that's all down to him playing the defense well. But at the same time, when my armies got moved from here to, I don't know, to the sea or whatever, and I decided that TNG, the remaining Arco army wasn't that huge, and I figured that TNG would be fine against him, or even if Arco managed to beat TNG's army, they take a fairly long time to siege TNG. And I just went for Arco's capital, and that worked out perfectly. It really couldn't have worked out any better. He didn't have a huge army in this fort as I thought. He didn't have as huge an army in this fort as I thought. So I was just able to march on there and just hold the province, which is never nice, since 300 income province, and say it was at 2,500 gold income, so that's a huge loss at the time. And of course he can't recruit any more of his cap only guys, can't even remember, but they are probably important, right? And I started to defend better against the Mind Hunt with some amulets and just bringing more chaff commanders and engravers and whatever to protect against the Mind Hunt, and that worked out well, and I even got the throne for basically free. Just it was on the way to his capital, right? So I think at this point, when this fairly huge army was sieging his capital, he knew it was game over, because he didn't really get a lot of help. I don't know what he did diplomacy-wise, to stop me, but he eventually got TNG to attack me, but that was like 20 turns too late, 15 to 20 turns too late. And no one ever crossed over this ocean. Like, I'm sure Arco, no, they get air, not water. Well, I thought that maybe they could forge the few sea goblets, give them to Niflheim, or who was here. Just told me, just fuck some shit up here, which would have worked. Wouldn't have worked forever, but would have worked for a good while. And remember that I took all my reinforcements from the whole island and just sent them through the water towards Arco. And I had very little down here, and if I would have had to defend down here, I'm not sure I could have taken the Arco capital. Or if he would have just beat me back, since he had two somewhat sizable armies, and the mine hunts were again doing a lot of work. Just got lucky that I got his seducer Orayat in combat. Like I never caught her with patrols or anything. She was just in the final battle for Arco, and I killed her in the combat. Otherwise she'd probably still be alive. At turn 61, so yeah. At this point I think the game was just over. Sure, he put up some fights and some more defense, which, by the way, I completely credit him for. He didn't just go AFK, he didn't just sail out, he didn't go AI. He did his best to stop me, even though I think at this point he knew he couldn't win anymore. But he put stones in my way every way he could. And of course the best thing he did was teleport his Pretender from here to the fort, which was where I had no troops, just in the general area I didn't have any troops. And then cast Burden of Time, which I think was an awesome move. Not super effective against me, since my guys are apologies. Since my guys are fairly well set up against Burden of Time. But still, I think that was great. Yeah, everything else was just free to take after that. Of course, killed all his armies, sieged took his capital. Like what was he supposed to do of the income of like 10 provinces maybe? He can't beat me back with those armies. Yeah. So that was I think what went right and how the game went, just in general. So what went wrong with the game? Well, first of all, we had too much tolerance for the sailors, and this was in a big part, of course, due to our admin, which is TNG. He set the turns to 48-hour turns, and because he's like me, he's working full time, and he was traveling for business at the time, and he knew that he would not guaranteed be able to make 24-hour turns, and he could use the slower pace, and I get that, but at the same time, these guys just, this year especially, like he joined the game, played for I think 2 weeks. 2 weeks maybe? Yeah, probably like 2 weeks. Then he went on holiday for a week. And he had a sub apparently, which we never met the sub. He just talked to the admin via private message, and probably talked to Agartha before that, but never told us anything about him in the forum thread or anything. But he submitted 1 turn I think in the whole week, and then didn't do anything after that. And then Agartha came back from the original player came back from holiday, and I don't know, saw that nothing much had happened. I think he didn't even really lose. I think he lost 2 provinces over the week where he didn't play. because people were not attacking him since, well, whatever, fairness reasons. Or maybe, I don't know, I didn't have any scouts yet. Maybe people didn't attack him because they were busy with other things. I don't know. But he came back, he played one turn, and then nothing was ever heard from him again. And he just sailed out for, I think he had like 15 stays at the end of the game when he got set to AI. And it was way too late. Like honestly, I can see waiting for a guy if he's on holiday for a week and his sub doesn't submit a turn. I get that. That's, well, maybe a bit much, but maybe not. It's courtesy to just wait for him and wait for him to get back. It's not his fault that his sub fucked up, right? But when he gets back, and then it's not like he didn't message the admin and told him that he wouldn't play anymore. He didn't post anything on the forum thread. Didn't post anything on Reddit. He just stopped playing. Didn't set himself AI, of course. And I think at that point we should have set him AI way earlier. Like, he was back, he played one turn, so we knew he was back. And I think after that he sails out 2 times he just gets set to AI. That's the way I see it. And that kind of warped the game back here, I feel, since Yomi didn't have to worry about this part at all. Maybe should have even attacked him, or could have taken a lot of him. I don't know why he didn't, if that was just friendliness or respect for someone who might come back, or if he decided Niflheim was a better target or something. I don't know. But yeah, I think way less tolerance for Abyssia at this point. Should have been what had happened. Sealum, kinda the same. Like, he was doing okay, but then he lost a huge battle at Helheim against Helheim troops, and he lost everything since he had nowhere to retreat, which was fairly horrible. And then the same thing happened again, like 6 turns later, I don't know. And that had to hurt, and after that he just stopped playing for a long time. I took all these provinces. I think when I had troops in this and this province, so I'd taken everything else, I think then he submitted 1 or 2 more turns and didn't do anything. Didn't set himself AI, just sailed out as well. But it was hard for me to say, yeah, just set him AI, because, well, I was in a war with him, so that would have sounded a bit horrible, maybe, if I said, yeah, I'm fighting him at the moment, and well, he missed a turn and he missed another turn, just set him AI and just take the free win. But in the end he didn't come back, and he was set to AI, and nothing was gained from waiting. So yeah, next I will display much lower tolerance for anyone sailing out in any of the games that I'm hosting and that I will host in the future. I think that was a fairly good lesson to learn. Yeah. Other than that, what else didn't really go well from an in-game or warfare standpoint? Well, I'm not entirely sure with the summons. Thing is, you get these national summons with Agartha, right? And they are great. I think the Living Mercuries are great, but I got to them very late, because I just researched the tree very late, because there's very little in there before the Living Mercuries. And the other two, the cap only Trampling Elementals and the Fire guys, are also very good, but I didn't make any of them, and I think that was no, I didn't make any of them. I didn't make any of them early. I made very little of them. I made a few Tramplers, which is fine, but I made no Fire Children or Magma Children early. And the reason for that was that the Warriors of 5 Elements have absorbed 5 fire damage, so I thought that would be super shitty against TNG. And I think that was correct. And then I didn't need them against Helheim because he was just dead. And then against Sealum, I think they would have been bad again, since they get arrowed down like nothing, these Mangua children. Ships in here. 8 protection, not great. So yeah, I feel like it was a good decision, or it was an okay decision not to make any of them until very late in the game, but it was a bit strange, and maybe I should have made them to fight against Arco and just forge one of the chalices of water breathing things. That could have helped. It just feels very weird to play Agartha and not use these a lot. And I feel I should have resumed the Trampler production much earlier. Again, I made quite a few early because they're just good. They would have been good against TNG, and they would have been great against Helheim with the Glamour. That's why I made a few, but then I was going more for the Earth Boots with my gems. But I should have resumed the Earth Elemental production much earlier after that, and I didn't, so that wasn't great, and I think that would have helped quite a bit against Arco when I was fighting them here on the defense against TNG. I think that would have helped a lot to just trample these guys down. Yeah. I didn't do so well on the early researcher recruitment. I got up forts early, but I didn't recruit enough researchers, and especially I had an Earth Reader problem in my capital, since I switched to full Oracle production somewhat early, which I think is a good idea. I think that was the right call, but I got this fort up a bit late, and because, well, I wanted one up at the choke point, which was probably an okay decision as well. But I got this one up a bit late and didn't really funnel the Earth Readers into Agartha, and had really weird luck with the randoms on the Earth Readers. Like I had 6 or 7 death random Earth Readers here and 1 fire guy, so I couldn't even do Magma Children if I had wanted it to. But yeah, so I missed very, very early research goals. Can we actually remove everyone else? You can see that I have super flat growth, like I have next to no research for all this, and then I start picking up here, I start recruiting from another fort and another one, and after that, like the growth is great, it's kinda exponential, but the start wasn't great. And I think just a few less troops and just one engraver return from some fort might have been a better choice overall. It's been so long, honestly, it's been like 2 months already, so I'm not entirely certain how doable that would have been, but yeah. So that was one thing that went wrong. Other than that, I feel like a lot of the things I did, I got away with because we are all not great players. I think the arms that I recruited a lot of just didn't get countered at all. We had very few flyers to attack them, we had no magic nukes, we had no high magic resistance guys to kill them, nothing. So I think the Orcs really carried me this game, and I recruited the full complement of them for almost every single turn in the game, but I'm not sure that would work in the next game or against better players. Of course, it is also in turn, since I was able to get a critical mass of Orcs. This is what I'm trying to say. Because they get much stronger if you put a lot of them together, because then they just paralyze whole units. then no one will ever get to them in melee. And they will just get hacked down by the pale ones. If you just have a few arms, that makes the pale ones that much worse, since they can't really hit targets that aren't paralyzed. Yeah. So, I went into this thinking that Agartha was a great nation, because at the time I started this game, I just played for 6 weeks prior to this, I think. And I picked Agartha because of the flavor, and I still love the flavor, but I've tried many more nations since that, and I kind of feel that Agartha isn't... it's certainly not the weakest nation, but they have huge weaknesses. Like, it is very unwieldy that 2 of the summons are capital only, and I feel that could maybe get changed. Like, I get it for flavor reasons. The oracles walk into the roots of the womb of the earth, and or channel, whatever. They walk into underground and contact the elemental kings and get the troops. I get that, and that's cool. I love that, but from a gameplay standpoint, Agartha is super low mobility anyway. All these movement 2 guys, and especially on this map, all of these take 1 turn to traverse every single province. And that's very annoying, and you have kinda low magical variety. You get water 2. But even the depth 2 isn't particularly great. And you can get water 2 of him. And the thing is, you kinda want to, if you want to go into water, you don't just want a water 2 guy who can't wear the robe of the sea. So yeah, these can wear water bracelets, but they can't wear the robe, so it's not like they can get to water 4 easily, and like half of these can, because if they can wear the robe, they can wear the water bracelet, but they can't, well, it's possible they just start with water 1 to begin with, so that's super shitty. Then that's also why I recruited almost exclusively, I can't remember, the fire guys. I could have maybe done more with these, but then I would have had to go enchantment earlier for skeletons, which I think is a way that can be done with Agartha, but it's so unreliable. Realistically, you get a death 2 guy every 4 turns, and that's just not great for skeleton spamming. Yeah. These troops, they just can't stand on their own, the pale ones. With attack 9, they will never hit anything. They need Earthner, they need the arms to paralyze things. It's just, they will never kill anything. They have good protection, sure, good hit points, good magic resistance, so they're good against magic stuff. But they have below average defense skill, and they will just never kill anything, and that's someone that they just get hacked to pieces before they kill anyone. Very sad nation. I don't like the expansion part for Agartha, but that's also because I really hate crocodiles, and I think they're fairly shitty troops. But maybe I need to learn to use them better and just expand with them more, but they're just worse than, they're not elephants. They're size 3 and they are super squishy, so. That also was one thing that didn't work that well this game. If I hadn't gotten the mercenaries, I shudder to think. So what else didn't go so well? I didn't know about many things, like I had almost no idea what astro magic does, and I got punished for that with the mind hunt thing. Next time I will invade an astro nation, I know I need to bring extra commanders just for the mind hunts and see if I can do any magic resistance items first. I knew fairly early that there was a site here to recruit these lizards, but I took a long time to build a lab there and lab and temple. That could have happened much earlier, or I could have just even with how late I built it, I could have just held back my armies a bit and kitted my castles out with a magic resistance amulet each, and that would have already made a huge difference. Certainly up here with the underwater expansion, but also with I lost a lot of guys that just walked up here to mine hunts. So yeah, that didn't work out so well. But that was mostly it. I'm sure I made many mistakes and I didn't play great since it was my first multiplayer experience. And when I started, that was 2 months ago, and I've been playing a lot in the past 2 months while this game was running, and I've certainly improved. But this is still my late game experience, like this one game. But yeah, overall I'm pretty happy with how this went. Would have liked to have the sailors kicked out much earlier, but yeah. So, my Shaka. He got crushed early by Yomi. Yeah, overall I really enjoyed the game, and I'm enjoying Dominions 4 quite a bit, which is why I've been playing so much of it. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank Gay Disciple, who was TNG, who organized the game, and just say, thank you for bringing us into the game. I'm pretty sure that many of us wouldn't have just started with random established strangers on some board, but not only did he start the game on Reddit, he also immediately moved us over to the Dom Forums where we were able to connect with other people, and I'm very happy with that. So yeah, that was Pretenders of Reddit. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next game.